my goodness, the sun is shining where I'm at today. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Waffle-Free Storytelling. It's Tina Konstant here, and all of the waffle is always at the end, which means we're leaping right into today's story, which is all about a woman in a purple hat. Now, near a bridge over a wide river at the edge of a forest, there's a crossroads. To the north of those crossroads are great mountain ranges coated in tall pines and snow that is so crisp and deep that only the most experienced travelers will venture there. To the east of those crossroads, there are valleys and fields and caves so hidden and full of secrets that people will explore there just for the sake of seeing what they can find. Then to the west, there are canyons and mountains, forests and green valleys, so rich that when people travel there, sometimes they never return because they found a space and a place where they can lay their roots. Then to the south of the crossroads, there are deserts, magnificent plains, wild savannas, and so much adventure that any traveler who ventures that far will come back a different person. That's just how it is. Now, at those crossroads, there's an inn. It was there simply because people always need a place to stop and rest when they come to a crossroads. As a result, this inn was full of people with stories to tell, news to share, and like all travellers, adventures to exaggerate. The owner of that inn was Obadiah. People were sure he had a second name, but no one knew it. He was just Obadiah. He was a tall, broad man with long grey hair and dark, smooth skin. There were bets on how old he was, but no one was ever close. He seemed to have tales that went back 1,000 years, but the light in his eyes, his quick laugh, and his strength whenever things got out of hand said he couldn't be more than 50. More than anything, Obadiah was a good listener. I guess when you own an inn at such a crossroads, people come with stories to tell, and so listening, well, it was a part of his purpose. Here's the strange thing about this little inn, though. Despite the fact that people travelled through it, there were very few strangers. Maybe because the same people travelled through it often. So even though very few lived there permanently, there was a sense of community and everybody knew everybody else. This was made possible because people used the inn like a sort of post office. Wherever they went, they would send postcards telling Obadiah where they were, what they were doing, and who they met. This didn't stop them repeating the story over hot stew and cold beer when they returned to the inn, and Obadiah didn't mind. He kept all of their news pinned to a wall of his bar, and he listened and he laughed and he cried along with every tale, no matter how often he heard it. "You never stand in the same river twice," he would say, whenever someone retold a tale everyone thought that they had heard before. It was a happy place, a safe place, a place people called home for as long as they were there. And because of that, the connections between people who passed through were strong, which means no matter how far they travelled, they were safe because Obadiah always knew where they were. He would know if they were lost and he would send a search party. He would know if they were injured and he would send help. He would know if they were lonely, and he would send a message saying, "Drop into old Lady Mackie's house. She's always got a pot on." Now, because of this, news from around the world passed through Obadiah's inn. He'd get postcards from the travelling sisters in the south telling him about a woman in a purple hat that they had met who was planting so many trees in the desert that she had created an oasis. Then she got news from a family travelling through Clemens Gorge who got lost and were found by a strange woman wearing a broad purple hat who had pulled them out and fed them and warmed them and given them a map to their greatest adventure yet. Then he got a short message from travellers who were exploring the caves in the east and spent a full week sharing the most outrageous tales with a tall woman in fiery robes wearing a bright purple hat. We laughed and cried so much, the note said, we lost track of time. Then Obadiah got a note from his good friend who was travelling up the North Pass. He had slipped and broken his leg and was carried to the nearest town on the back of a mule, led by a woman wearing a worn, floppy, purple hat. I don't know her name, the postcard said. Obadiah put all of these notes and postcards on a map on his wall. Each time a new one came in mentioning the strange woman in a purple hat, he added it to the wall. Soon the people in the inn noticed, and they began to piece together an imagined story. Who she was, where she was from, what she was like, how she travelled, why she travelled. Over 3 years, Obadiah added to this story on the wall. Like news from fishermen, this woman in a purple hat had joined for a month, or tales from traders she had joined for a week. Oh my goodness, she's got away, they said. She spun such tales we could have sold leaves to a pine tree. So people started to come to the inn just to hear what the woman in the purple hat was up to. And then quite suddenly the news stopped. Months passed, and no one saw her. People gathered at the inn and talked in hushed tones. Obadiah sent all of his contacts to the last place she was seen, but no one came back with any news. Fearing the worst, Obadiah could do nothing but wait. And then, 3 months later, on a dark and windy, rainy night, after Obadiah had said good night to his guests and closed the front door, he heard a tap on the window. Lighting a candle, Obadiah peered through the pane to see wide, wise eyes, a soft smile, and a broad purple hat. "Apologies for knocking on your door at this hour," the woman said. "I'm new to these parts and have been told 100 times that this is the world's best crossroads inn." Well, Obadiah threw the door open. He pulled the woman in from out of the rain. He lit the fire. He served a bowl full of hot stew and fresh bread, and he filled a mug with his finest beer. "Welcome," he said. "You are so welcome." The woman laughed out loud. "Is this how you greet every stranger?" she said. Obadiah shook his head and he pointed to his map on the wall. "You are never a stranger," he said, "when your story goes before you." There you go, that's it. That's it from Waffle-Free Storytelling today. Oh, I hope your week has been splendid, and I hope your weekend is peaceful and mellow. I hope the sun is shining when you want it to shine, and I hope there's rain falling in the right places for you. So, drop around to www.tinakonstant.com and say hi. Feel free to join the fireside. And it'll be good to see you there. All right, as always, hug the people you love and make peace with anything that is random in your world. I'll see you next time with more crazy stuff from the Waffle-Free universe. Bye-bye now.